Hi, I'm Boyuan, and this is Jahan. We're futurists and designers and the founders of Project Inkblot, a design for diversity consultancy. I'm a first-generation Chinese American from Amherst, Massachusetts.
And I'm a native New Yorker, born and raised on the Lower East Side.
We joined forces in 2014 as strategy consultants, working with companies that would bring us in to be the cultural bridge between them and the communities who they were trying to reach. Time and time again, those folks that they were trying to reach were not at the decision-making table, leading to ineffective and inauthentic results. So we began to codify our most successful work and designed this framework, Design for Diversity, also known as D for D, to help teams illuminate blind spots and cultural and racial biases within their design processes before they get embedded into the end product or service. We target specifically tech and media companies who have the biggest global reach in terms of the products and services that we interact with on a day-to-day basis. Frequently, these things are built with biased processes leading to biased results.
So when we work with companies who are faced with diversity, equity, and inclusion challenges, typically their solve is to run implicit bias trainings. And while those can be useful and are really helpful, that's identity work, it happens for the rest of our lives. It leaves employees saying, okay, well now what? So we are the now what? And before we move on, let's just share quickly what we mean when we say design for diversity. It's sort of an umbrella term for diversity, inclusion, and equity. So when we say diversity, the way we define it is like optics, like who's in the room right now? What does it look like, right? Inclusion is not just, I feel like I belong. It's really, am I respected as a leader and as a decision maker? And equity is like the glue that holds it all together. Equity is what are the systems and the processes that uphold our commitment to diversity and inclusion. Without systems and processes, nothing shifts. So, okay, when we're not designing for diversity intentionally, we see things like this. Gucci, Prada, Katy Perry evoking blackface imagery in their products. And we see things like this. Some of y'all might not know, young black man uploaded a photo of him and his friend, a black woman, to Google Photos, and they were tagged as gorillas. There are two really important things to note. The first is that there weren't any black programmers on this particular Google team. And the other thing to note is that they didn't have a diverse data set, meaning they weren't dark-skinned faces or black faces embedded into the algorithm.
So let's take a look at the impact. For companies, it's clear there's a diminishing of their customer loyalty, brand trust, obviously billions of dollars in sales. That really matters to companies. But let's take a look on the real-life implications on society. So diversity is a design process. All of these things were designed that way, and they can be redesigned.
Okay, those are some dire headlines. Let's look at something positive, right? So Rihanna has her famous beauty company, Fenty, and they really transformed the beauty industry by starting with first 40 and then 50 shades of foundation, addressing a wide spectrum of skin tones. And so many beauty brands have followed suit because of this, thereby shifting the industry. It's really important to say that Rihanna was super involved in this process and really model what it looks like when you bring in the communities you're trying to reach at every level of the design process. And there's been a real upsurge in black beauty influencers who are now partnering with brands as leaders and decision makers.
In 2017, we teamed up with fashion tech company Rent the Runway to launch a new initiative to help women entrepreneurs build scalable businesses. What they initially missed were the specific pain points of women of color, immigrant women, and low-income women, who make up altogether the biggest growing number of entrepreneurs in the country. By illuminating their blind spots, we were able to alter their programming, their outreach strategies to engage a much larger market. So when we talk about design for diversity, we're looking at 5 key areas in the framework. So each of these key areas has a core question. So intent versus impact. In what ways might your impact diverge from your intent? Interdependent team speaks about how do the different identities of the team indicate or implicate how you make decisions on your team and your ways of working together. Equity ideation centers equity at the very beginning of even the idea itself. And source community talks about the people who you're trying to reach and the people who you didn't even think about who might interact with or be impacted by your service and product. And lastly, source iteration is the process of improving your product informed by the source community, the people that you're trying to reach.
Okay, so this is what we're leaving you with. Diversity is a design process. It's not a good intention. It's not happenstance. It's practical, it's actionable, it's essential, and we can all be leaders in it. We're like always looking to partner with companies who want to learn and more importantly, practice designing for diversity. So if that's you, come say hi. Thank you.